Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
And today we're having a conversation and an introduction.
Yeah. So we were starting off this new channel after meeting each other, doing Motorsport for the Masses, which was an awesome program put on by Rob Bowling. Basically, it's a short course driver's education program. So kind of in between autocross and a full day track course.
Yep. One of my absolute favorite, Rob always called it your forearm exercise for the day, because if you hung out there too long, you were sawing that wheel back and forth and having a ton of fun. Whereas on a traditional HPDE, going down that straight, especially in a Miata, you might be twiddling your thumbs and kind of wondering what's going on. So
for sure. So we thought the best way to introduce ourselves to you, as well as our backgrounds and our cars, would be a cool beer tasting. And that's not saying that we're tasting beer while we're driving, but more that we're looking for beers that would pair well with our cars' personalities.
Exactly. So we wanted to have a beer that captured what we thought about our car, some of the cool features, some of the cool attributes of it, and wanted to share that with you guys as a kickoff for our channel.
Yeah. So to start off, I'll start off with the car that I think most people know me by, and that's my Volkswagen GTI. That's my first foray into the performance field, so to speak.
Performance.
I mean, compared to my previous cars, it is.
That is true. It's a lot faster than a Malibu.
It's more expensive too. But anyway,
to maintain.
Yeah. But yeah, it's my first foray into it. I love the car. It does everything I need it to. It's my daily, so I can throw stuff into the back of it. I can take it to a track day. I can bring wheels inside of it and be able to swap them out at a track event. So I think it's just a perfect multi-tool, right? It's the perfect everyday car. So for that, I went with an old standby. It's something that's reliable, that I can go to when I'm going out to dinner if I don't see anything that's on the menu that I really like. And that is a beer that I really love, and it's the OMB, Old Mecklenburg Brewery, right here out of Charlotte. It's the OMB Copper. So this is a beer that has a lot of flavor to it, but it's something that when you're looking at it, you wouldn't suspect it to have all the flavor that it actually does. But I know it's a beer that I can go to and rely on it and really enjoy anytime I drink it. So yeah. I think it pairs well with the GTI.
Let's hope it's a little bit more reliable than a Volkswagen. Prost.
Prost. Nice and crisp.
Nice and crisp. It's nice and smooth. That is, it's such a good beer. I've had OMB Copper before, and it's definitely a go-to, right? It's like when a lot of people are thinking of what is the perfect daily driver, what is the best hot hatch, the answer is invariably GTI,
yeah,
right?
Until we hit the Mark 8.
Yes, until you hit the Mark 8, because
so sad.
that is one of the things that OMB is great at, right? They make this copper, which is just a great beer. It's a beer you can go to every time you go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
All right, next up is my daily driver. And daily driver is kind of a loose term for me because I actually work at home, so really it only goes to school and picks up my kids. But either way, why not pick up your kids in style and in performance with a 2016 Cadillac ATS-V? 464 horsepower, one of the Cadillac V cars before they neutered the V name and came out with the V Black Wings.
Bizarre, but
bizarre, right? Exactly. It was one of the full fat Vs. Very, very quick car. Excellent chassis with the Alpha chassis. A lot of great performance in a very, well, not very, but somewhat compact package, right? It's not that big of a car, but it gets around extremely, extremely well. So, thinking about that, I wanted to come up with a beer that kind of captured some of the essence that was distinctly American, that had the smoothness of a Cadillac, and also had a little bit of a kick in your pants, because that's exactly what the ATS gives you when you really kick down a couple of gears. So for that, I have brought the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale by Lexington Brewing in Lexington, Kentucky. So it is aged in bourbon barrels, so you get that nice smooth richness from the bourbon. You get that on the nose, get that in your mouth. It's nice and smooth. It also is about 8% ABV, so
pretty decent.
You got to be a little bit careful drinking it, or else it's gonna sneak up on you. So, without further ado, we'll give this a taste and see what the Cadillac ATS-V tastes like.
Well, I know I'm a huge fan of the ATS-V, and no doubt, based on what you're describing, this will be delicious too. So,
in the honor of America, cheers!
Cheers! Oh yeah,
that bourbon.
I can taste the sophistication in there.
The sophistication of
Mr. Cadillac. Yeah, it's a nice smooth ride going down.
Yep.
But it has a little punch to it too.
Yeah.
Which I think the ATS-V embodies perfectly.
Absolutely. When you get those turbos spooled up, you're zipping on down the road.
Oh yeah, those kids are riding in style to school, no doubt. All those fellow classmates are going to be very jealous. So I think your Cadillac pairing is really awesome. I think you did a fantastic job. But I'd like us to take a little bit of a detour, maybe off-road.
Oh,
Yeah.
The road was taken.
That's
what
right.
I say.
So one of the other cars that I have that I actually share with my wife, she kind of lays claim to it, but I do all the maintenance, so, you know.
And there's a lot of maintenance once you hear what it is. Yeah.
So we always wanted one of these growing up. Both of us really thought they were really cool vehicles. And there's a specific generation that we thought was really cool too, that we both happen to agree on. My wife is not a car person. That's the TJ generation. So we both found one on Facebook Marketplace.
There you go.
Drove up to the mountains and drove it back home. So we couldn't be happier with it. It's a really great vehicle. We've gone off-road many times on it.
Many times.
And by off-road,
parked off-road right now, as a matter of fact. So what beer do you have for us?
All right, so for that one, I went with something from the Wrangler's home state of Ohio. All right, and this is the Great Lakes Brewing Company's Elliott Ness Lager.
Yeah,
So
I love Great Lakes.
yeah, so something a little toasted, something a little warm, but really comforting and just down home America. You know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of what we're going with here. Hopefully, a little bit less oily than a typical Jeep Wrangler. All right. So there we go.
Spirit of America. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good. It's nice and smooth, but it's got a little bit of an earthy tone, which I think represents the Jeep very, very nicely.
Exactly.
It feels slightly adventurous on like the beer scape because it's a little bit more distinct than like the OMB Copper. So it's got a unique flavor to it, which I think is nicely encapsulated. You got the Ohio connection on top of it, so that's just fantastic.
It's home of the Wrangler, Toledo, Ohio. Shout out to you guys.
All right, next up is my wife's daily driver, which is a Audi Q7 with a 3-liter supercharged V6. It's a typical family cruiser, but it kind of has a little bit of a unique aspect. It's a little bit elevated. As Jordan likes to say, it is prestige because it is the prestige trim, so it comes with all the trappings that you would expect in your Audi. Actually, it has a wonderful chassis for a large SUV. It doesn't really feel like it's, 6,000 pound curb weight, and you can kind of wheel it around a little bit, which is a lot of fun. Fun fact is it actually shares a chassis with both the Cayenne and the Bentley Bentayga, so it's got a little bit of, a little bit of DNA in there. That kind of like
it's got a little pep to its step.
Yeah, a little pep to its step. So, one beer that I thought would be a great choice is the Hofbrauhaus Dunkel, which is, it's a great drinking beer. It's smooth. You can drink a lot of it. I think it's only about 5.5%, but it's got a nice body to it. Yeah. It's very, very tasty. And, represents kind of like the elevated class that you would expect of the Audi Q7. So why don't you take a taste, Jordan,
all right,
the Audi.
I could say your kids are very lucky. They're getting picked up in Cadillacs and Audis. I'm just saying. All right.
Yes. Nothing but the best for my children. Cheers. Prost.
Prost. Oh, yeah, this is very smooth, like an Audi should be. But it's got that dual element personality. It's easy to drink, but there's a lot of depth to its flavor, which you get with that Audi flavor, too. Because, it is, typical 7-seat situation that most Americans love. Right. It's very convenient, but has a little extra spice to it.
A little bit extra.
Yeah,
just
a little supercharged flavor.
Yeah, a little supercharged flavor. You can flip it in dynamic mode and just zip on through traffic.
I like it. Well done.
In typical Audi traffic, you can just like tailgate people like this.
Well paired, sir. All right, for my next one, this is my pinnacle of my collection. It's a 20-year-old car, but it's something that I really always wanted, and that is a Porsche Boxster. So I was looking for a Mazda Miata at the time for some track use, but it just so happened at the time the Miata market was crazy, and I was able to get a Porsche Boxster for just a tick more money. I know it's more money in maintenance, but there's nothing like the sound of a flat six coming from behind you.
Nope, not at all.
And there's so much just raw visceral power that you can feel coming through the car. I needed to pick something that really had that same level of depth and emotion. So I found a beer, and it's pronounced
Ex-Schlenkerler.
How did you pronounce that so well?
What can I say? I'm like half German.
Half German, okay.
I'm not, but
let's taste this. I can't wait.
So this beer is really special because it is a special type of smoked beer from Germany. So you're going to get a lot of smoky odor towards the front, which I think is awesome in a motorsports car, much like the Boxster. It loves to smoke up if you don't drive it for a while. But that's pretty typical. But also burning rubber is an important part of the Porsche lifestyle. All right, so Prost.
It's definitely very, very smoke on the front end, but on the back end you get a lot of depth. So You get the smokiness that you would expect of your 987.
Of course.
But on the back end, you get a lot of like the smoothness, the richness, the fullness, that experience of that flat six humming right behind you. So I think that's a great pairing.
Yeah. Reminds me of like driving down the road and you can feel just the scent of the engine around you.
You feel everything around you. Just envelops you with the top down. You get to have all of that sensation, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
All right. For our last vehicle that we're going to talk about today is the 2012 Porsche Cayman R. This is actually owned by my father-in-law, but he only spends about half his time here. He's got two thumbs and gets to drive a Porsche for free. It's this guy. And so I'm going to go ahead and claim it as my own for the purposes of this video. And I really tried to think of what kind of beer would pair well with the Cayman R. So the Cayman R is a little bit unique. There's only 1,621 of them made. It's got lighter weight than your typical Cayman, but it's not that distinct or different, right? It's got the same engine as the S with a little bit more horsepower. It's got a lot of the same accoutrements as well. It's got a little bit of weight loss as well. Okay. So it's got the little flappy handle so you can pull the door open.
Very crucial.
It's missing the instrument binnacle, and that's shaved off, you know, about 25 grams or so. So, I mean, it's just got all this weight loss that kind of adds up and makes something into a little bit more special package. So I tried to think what beer would kind of encapsulate that. Yeah. And so the one that I chose is the Aventinus Eisbock.
Ooh, interesting.
And so this is a very, very strong beer. It's actually 12%, which I think represents the Cayman R well. It's a car that, you know, will put you back in the seat, give you that feel. You get to hear the flat six howl over your shoulder.
Nothing better.
Which, as we both know, is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Very addictive.
Very addictive. So lots of cool flavors in this. I think it's a good one that represents the Cayman R.
Awesome. Can't wait to taste it.
What do you think?
Now that is excellent. Now you can see there's a ton of depth in there. Immediately when you taste it, my taste buds are going, here's this, here's this, here's this. So it's very communicative, like the Cayman R.
Oh,
how about that?
That is a good. That is a good piece of symbolism.
And
there,
it bites you a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
It gives you a little bite.
Well, you can feel that it's got a little bit of strength to it, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than what you would normally expect. It's got tastes of clove, raisin, banana.
Yeah. I like
it. Makes it all incorporated. It kind of makes something that works, but it's a little bit distinct and unique.
There's a lot of character to that. And that's, I think, the reason that we like Porsches so much is they build so much character.
They do.
As you're driving them. There's just a different layer every mile that you drive them behind it. So absolutely. I think it's a great beer choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. We hope you enjoyed this absolute hot mess of a podcast. But in reality, we're trying to bring you stuff that pairs well with automotive life.
Absolutely, exactly. We're trying to bring the automotive life, the automotive community, some experiences and things like that to share with you guys because we think it's a lot of fun and we love sharing and growing the automotive community.
Absolutely. So feel free to share this with all your friends. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
We have a lot more stuff coming your way.
Yep, so much more stuff coming your way. And next week we're going to go ahead and talk about the North American International Auto Show in Detroit.
Thanks for your time. We'll see you next time.